In the new Crown of Sorrow raid, we learn of a new hive device Callus has obtained that could change the way he rules forever, control the hive, and maybe even other races. Now the thing is, this didn't really go as planned, corrupting one of his loyalists, which in turn prompted his guardians to invade and take out this new threat, but the story behind this definitely gets pretty crazy and I hope you stick with us. Today we're going to discuss how Gahlran was created and what happened to him, what the Crown of Sorrow actually is, and the hive trickery going on behind the scenes.
I was lost once, exiled from my people, floating aimlessly amongst the stars. But then I found it. Something breathtakingly glorious. The truth of the universe. The ascendant artifact you've returned to me is an echo of that truth. You and I will need it before the end comes. The future can't be far.
Alright Guardians, welcome back, hope you're having an amazing day, and let's jump right into this. Let's first begin with the story of Gahlran, who is the final raid boss for Crown of Sorrow, and then we'll get into the crown itself, what that means, and other Savathun related secrets. So first let me read this lore card that was published on Bungie's site just before the expansion released, and it details Callus and how Gahlran was created. Gahlran knelt before his emperor in a chamber of gold. Every surface reflected a resplendent sheen that blinded him. "What is this place?" he asked. "Many things," Callus replied, lounging with his cheek in his palm. "This chamber once held an Archborn, the only one of her kind to leave the interstellar conduits of her people. It is the place where Valis Nor earned her shield in trial by combat. Shadows were cast here, history made." "Am I to cast a shadow?" "Yes, you were bred to be a sorrow bearer. I seek a hive commander, but those are not so readily available, so I made you." "The council says the hive cannot be contained. They worry." Callus raised an eyebrow. "Who among them?" "Counselors Ral and Valoran." The emperor shook the golden chamber with his guffaw. "Only a few hours old and already your words have killed two." Gahlran pondered what his emperor could mean. "I will enjoy you," Callus said, and keyed a hidden control on the armrest of his divan. The ceiling shrieked as it opened like an eye. Gahlran craned his neck to stare as two hovering counselors descended with a massive plated helm from the vast iris above. He could hear a litany of voices shouting down at him from inside the thing as it slowly descended. He thought they sounded like warnings, but there were no discernible words in the speech. "What is that?" he asked his emperor. Callus finished the royal nectar in his chalice before belching, "Your crown." Gahlran thought he could glimpse a faint violet glow on the inside of the helm as it drew nearer. "Isn't it beautiful?" Callus asked as the voices echoed from the helm grew louder. "No," Gahlran replied. He thought that he should run. He tried to stand, but he found that he could not, rooted to the floor before the emperor's throne by the will of the counselors. "I do not like this," Gahlran said. "This," said Callus as the counselors crowned Gahlran, "is why you were born." The violet interior filled Gahlran's vision. "What does it feel like?" asked the emperor. "Fear," Gahlran said. Callus must have responded, but Gahlran couldn't hear him over the cacophony of voices. He suddenly found that he could see through 100 billion eyes, and that he can eat with teeth enough to consume entire systems. He felt beautiful. So we can see from that text that Callus wanted a hive commander, something to possibly control the hive, but none of those were available, so he decided to create a monster of his own. You can think of it kind of like Frankenstein if you want. So Callus created one of his loyalists for a new purpose. From the new lore, we can also tell that this Gahlran was created or born from the royal pools inside the Leviathan. So this is a place we've seen in previous raids, and apparently a bunch of these new Cabal are being born here, but this time something a little bit different happened as Callus altered the DNA of this new warrior named Gahlran. This just wasn't going to be a normal loyalist under Callus's control. He would be the Hive commander he could never acquire and would wear this crown of sorrow. So in the post from Bungie's site, Callus says, "I will enjoy you," and activates a lever which brings down 2 counselors and a crown of sorrow from the ceiling. As it descended, Gowron did not like this device. He said he felt fear and heard many voices as it drew closer. Callus then told them, "This is why you were born," and then Gahlran found that he could see through 100 billion eyes, and that he can eat with the teeth enough to consume entire systems. So summing that up, Callus took one of his own and essentially converted it into a hive being or commander of his own using this crown of sorrow. But the thing is, there's tons more going on behind the scenes, and Gahlran became corrupted by this crown because of a witch queen, Savathun.
I got a fragment of the message. Savathun, emerge from the deep. Take our power.
I am here for maintenance.
Finally found you. You're a busy little light. Do you recognize me? It's your beloved Emperor Callus. I've been watching you. All your good work. I believe you're ready. It's time you and I met more intimately. I've sent a gift to Nessus for you. I'll see you soon, oh champion mine.
Let's next talk about where did the Crown of Sorrow come from. So the Crown of Sorrow itself is a hive artifact that was obtained by Callus from the depths of a hive fortress. Here's the backstory. The Hive left the Crown of Sorrow on one of their war moons, and my shadows waged such a campaign to take it. We did, and we converted it into an Athenium world. But the crown was a trap for me. I suspected as much, which is why I did not wear it. After initial tests, my scions determined it was a seeing device of sorts, feeding all sorts of data to someone or something deep within the Ascendant Plane. But seeing devices look both ways, I had to have it, and I had to have someone wear it. So Callus created Gahlran to wear this Crown of Sorrow. Callus realized this was a trap set by Savathun deep within the Ascendant Plane, but figured he could maybe cleanse the artifact and use it to control the Hive to his own wishes in the future. So there Gahlran was born for the purpose of wearing this device, and just hours later he became corrupted by its dark powers. This of course began infecting the Leviathan with Hive and Savathun's deception. From there, Callus called upon us once more to stop this Hive infestation and join his ranks as a shadow. This is why the whole Leviathan looks corrupted with Hive gunk, and that explains the backstory there. We found the Crown of Sorrow on a stray war moon. The Scions guessed that the ritual text surrounded it claimed it was crafted in imitation of the Taken King's power to compel wills. It did the opposite, of course, and consumed my loyalist Gahlran. That was my first encounter with the witch. She has been plaguing all my loyalists since then as sort of a viral language, perhaps even you. But she can be beaten. The Hive are not true beings of the dark, not compared to what I met at the Black Edge. Not compared to me. I shall find her and her Ascendant Plane before the end, and we will have words. Now the super interesting thing here is that Savathun knows what we're doing. She's just sitting there behind the scenes in her Ascendant Plane, as we can assume, just watching our every move, and Callus wants to put an end to her trickery and plans just as much as we do. Now unless there is something going on even more in depth behind the scenes that we don't know about, we can assume that that's the case, right? You heard in that Ghost clip that ever since Destiny 2 release, we've been getting hints of her impending arrival. Calls to Titan in Savathun's song, tons of enemies named after her, the Dreaming City curse, and now whatever's going on near the moon with Shadowkeep. Now of course with Shadowkeep we've been speculating about all of this, the darkness, they're causing the nightmares and so on, but that tower definitely looks Hive related, so yeah. I also found it pretty cool when they mentioned the Hive war moons again. Now I never really talked about this in any previous videos, I don't think, but those were essentially moons, small planets, or satellites that the Hive converted into mobile fortresses. So from those Death Star machines they would live here, attack other species like the Ammonites, and rain chaos wherever they wished. When it comes to Savathun though, we know that during the Lumina quest starting on Tuesday, we will probably head back to the Ascendant Plane unless it's tied to that possible secret Bad Juju quest. Now regardless of which one it is, Callus mentions he wants to search for Savathun and he will find her in her Ascendant Plane. This area we've seen in the trailers could be a totally different part of the Leviathan that perhaps Callus crafted himself, but thought it'd be interesting to throw out there for sure. Now, in my opinion, Callus at this point is one of the most interesting characters in the Destiny universe. Although he's seen what this crown can do, he still thinks it can be used in the future with his shadows and maybe even us, and we can resolve this issue. Now, if you'd like to learn more about Callus and the Season of Opulence mysteries, definitely be sure to stay tuned to the channel as I'll be getting into that stuff very soon. But if you'd like to see some more videos just like this one and have some cool ideas for future videos, be sure to leave that in the comments down below. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. My name's Evade, and I'll catch you Guardians in the next one.